Okay, so now we're going to look at acids, bases, and salts for part 3 of this lecture. Um, Electrolytes, remember, are things that release ions into water. So we've got the sodium chloride will, in water, will dissociate and form a sodium ion and a chloride ion. Acids release hydrogen ions in water. So hydrochloric acid will break down into hydrogen ions and chloride ions. And then bases, those pick up hydrogen ions. So we have this sodium hydroxide here, in water will break down into sodium ion and a hydroxyl ion. And then this ion right here, that hydroxyl ion, or the hydroxyl, this can combine with a hydrogen ion, this is where it picks it up, to form water. Okay, and then salts form when you have acids and bases together. So you can have hydrochloric acid with sodium hydroxide will form water and salt, sodium chloride. And we just talked about this, but take some time to look at this to make sure it makes sense to you. Okay, pH scale is a measure of the hydrogen ion concentration in solution. Neutral on the pH scale is 7. 0 means the most hydrogen ions. So this is the most hydrogen ions, and you can tell with this red shows that. 14 is the most hydroxide ions. So 14 has theoretically no hydrogen ions and all OH negatives. And then 7's in the middle. If you think about it, if it's equal amounts of H plus and OH negative, those two are going to form, because it's two hydrogens and an oxygen, are going to form H2O. So 7 is where we find pure water. Human blood is right around pH around 7. Anywhere in human blood can be anywhere from 7.35 to 7.45 would be a normal range or homeostatic range. Bases up here, a lot of the cleaning products are up here. Lye, for example, lye would be around 13. Lye is a really strong base. It'll burn you. And then our stomach acid, say down here from 1.5 to say 2.5, but that's the gastric juice. That's about it. Oh, and things that are closer to 0 are more acidic. Things that are further away are more basic or alkaline. Okay, and this just describes what happens with when a person's pH level for their blood is out of range, out of our homeostatic set point, so acidosis, alkalosis. Okay. So look that over, make sure you understand that. All right, these are the what are organic and inorganic molecules that make up our bodies. So organic molecules are things that contain carbon and hydrogen, but really we talk about organic chemistry as the chemistry of carbon. Okay, so there's carbon, and that's organic molecules. Yes, we can add hydrogen in there. And then our organic molecules that we're going to be concerned with are carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. Inorganic molecules generally don't have carbon and hydrogen. They dissolve in water and they do form the ions, which are our electrolytes. So water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, inorganic salts. So look at the inorganic stuff and you just have a general understanding of this list. Water is the most abundant compound in living things, most living things. Oxygen is an inorganic compound that's used to break down nutrients like glucose, so our bodies can make ATP for energy. Carbon dioxide is a waste product. We get rid of it by exhaling it out. It's carried in our blood different ways. We'll look at that more in AMP2. And the inorganic salts, these ones we talk a lot about for AMP1. We talk a lot about sodium. So, sodium, potassium, calcium, chlorine to be a little bit. Okay, and the inorganic salts, sodium and calcium especially, but potassium also, are so important for our muscle contractions and how our nerve signals move. Okay, we use glucose as our main source of energy. So glucose, and this formula, chemical formula, C6H12O6, is a general formula for simple sugar, but generally when you see this, we're talking about glucose. We'll talk more about monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides, because these are the organic ones. So carbohydrates are the first one we talk about. So monosaccharides are single sugars, and this is a ring structure for glucose. And disaccharides are two sugars, two monosaccharides put together. And the bonds here, those bonds are called glycosidic linkages. So that bond right there, it's called a glycosidic linkage. Okay, glycosidic linkages help to form larger carbohydrate molecules by combining monosaccharides. Monosaccharides are the building blocks, or the monomers for carbohydrates. And then these larger carbohydrates are called polysaccharides. Poly means many. So this could be something like glycogen, which is a polysaccharide we find in our liver and our muscles, and it helps to store these carbohydrates for us for use for later. There's also another polysaccharide, could be cellulose. Okay, and cellulose is fiber in plants, helps to form their cell wall.